Ever wondered what a Jack the Ripper tour is really like? Well, I headed to East London to find out, and we're starting right now. Hi guys, I'm Loretta from Home and Horizon. It's a lifestyle blog that saves you money at home and on holiday. As you can see, I also vlog, and today's video is all about the Jack the Ripper tour that I went on with the family in London. Just a few things before we start. Number one, if you're liking what you see, I'd love a big thumbs up from you, and obviously subscribe if you find the video useful. Number two, stay tuned to the end, because then I give you my verdict on the good things, the bad things, and the really interesting things about the tour. Here's what happened.
That is so fast.
Jack the Ripper tour is like a 90-minute walk. So it's a hot day today, so I'm hoping the kids are not going to complain. Anyway, I'm excited because I've never done one before. And a bit dodge. It's quite creepy around here. We're not even on the tour yet.
At the second floor, we have a reproduction of a Victorian sitting room. You can touch everything that is around you without any problem. We also have a top hat and a cloak, like Teddy Jack here. If you want to take it on and have a selfie, go for it. If you have questions at the end, you can ask them to me or to Phil during the tour.
So as you can see, it was a really varied tour. So we're going to kick off with all the good things about it. Number one, it got the kids off the screens. Yes, we dragged the kids with us. They were really actually quite interested in it, because bearing in mind this is real life, this is actually what happened to these women, these prostitutes. The eldest one, our 13-year-old, was fascinated, and even though it involved loads of walking and he hates walking, he didn't moan once, just because he was enthralled in all the mystery surrounding Jack the Ripper. Big thumbs up on that respect. The tour guide also showed us the pictures, because bearing in mind there were real pictures of the murdered prostitutes. Before we could say, yeah, they're fine to show to the children, they weren't as gory as we thought they'd be, in black and white as well. So, and it was fine. It was absolutely fine. It was quite varied. We'd covered a lot of walking, so it's good exercise. Younger kids probably wouldn't appreciate all the walking. You have to walk to actually go to the locations of the, you know, where the murders took place. Number two, our tour guide was obviously our tour guide was like really engrossed in the subject. He was a massive fan of Jack the Ripper. He'd obviously done his research. Whatever question you threw at him, he seemed to know the answer. I really liked that. He wasn't shy in coming forward, and yeah, he knew a lot of facts about the murders that weren't on the tour. So if you'd ask him something, he'd give you what he thought happened, and yeah, I really like that. Number 3, you know what I really liked, and I didn't know if he was doing it because he was checking if we were listening. He took us around on the tour, he told us about all the suspects right at the end of the tour, and watch this if you go on it, because, you know, top tip, pay attention. He will ask you who you think was Jack the Ripper. So you've got lots of suspects, and he goes around and he says, right, who do you think it is? Who do you think it is? Fortunately, he tells you he's going to do this, so you're kind of prepared anyway. Girl writer didn't really know who to pick, so she was like, yeah, what she said was quite funny. Number 3, have I done number 3? Or number 4? Anyway, whatever it is. We actually went to Jack the Ripper Museum. We bought the ticket which combined both, so you can go to the museum and do the tour. I'm going to leave all the details in the description below so you can go check it out, and I'll leave the prices there as well for you. I really enjoyed it. It was really good to look around the museum. You can either do this before or after the tour, but it was quite interesting for us to go after the tour, because then we saw the pictures and knew what they really related to, having heard it on the tour. This is a real piece of history, you know, actually it's just fascinating, and the way it was described, and you know, it was just really weird, because in one location he actually took us and he said this is the exact spot that the body was found, and it was like a drain there anyway, which is a bit odd, but kind of gave me the shivers, and I was like, weird. But yeah, I like the fact that it's not a made up story. I think we all enjoyed that. And that was probably it for the good things. Oh, we went on a really nice sunny day, so we were very fortunate. I really enjoyed it. Moving on to the not so good things. Number 1, most of the locations that the tour guide showed us, they were new, like buildings or, you know, places. Some of them were still around, like there was a church that was there, little alleyways, but most of the places they were like, he was like, yeah, 200 yards down this road, there used to be a police station or something, and now it's a big block of modern flats, or you know what I mean. So you couldn't see it and visualize it, because there was something new there. There was something that, you know, wasn't there back in Jack the Ripper's day. But obviously this is, you know, not their fault, nothing to do with how good the tour is. It's just something that I personally thought, you know, I mean, kids are not going to be able to visualise what it was like all those years ago. But yeah, so it would have been really interesting to maybe, just maybe, having shown the street and what it looks like then and what it looks like now, but not always possible. Second thing, we went to the museum before the tour, and luckily the tour guide was actually in the museum sitting down ready to walk to the tour meeting place. Now, had we not gone with him, I don't think personally we would have found it. The meeting place was, I think it was near the underground, or yeah, it was like under the underground, and the underground, duh. What I mean by that, it was like in a bypass, like a tunnel bypass. He didn't like have placard or, you know, a sign saying Jack the Ripper tour or anything. So they were just like him and a bunch of us stood around, and he's like, oh, there's 2 people missing, we'll just hang around and wait here for them. And they never showed up, and it always made me wonder, did they actually find the real meeting place? I mean, I don't know the way they described it because I didn't read it. Maybe it was really accurate, but I thought it wasn't the most prominent of places. And thirdly, like I said, he wasn't wearing any sort of high vis or, hey, the tour's here. If you weren't being eagle-eyed, you could miss it altogether. That's a top tip for them for next time. Okay, well, that's probably it for the didn't likes, to be honest. I was fascinated by it. Let's go on to the interesting things. In the East End of London, some places are a little bit run down. Actually, we went on a Sunday, so obviously from the Saturday night before, bottles of beer, litter, rubbish tipped out. It wasn't a very nice place to be in on an early Sunday morning, because, you know, vomit on the pavement and stuff like that, and there were a lot of hoodlums hanging around, let me tell you. Yeah, a lot of hoodlums. It was a bit disconcerting, possibly. There was this one guy, so we were stood around in a group, and he was just stood there at the back with his head tilted to the side, grinning. Just like really creepily just grinning. He wasn't even listening to the tour guide. He wasn't even looking at him. He was like looking between us. I'm like, let's just get us out of here, move on to the next spot. This is just freaking me out a bit. It was just a bit weird. But yeah, you get to see a few characters in the East End of London. Kids were a bit perturbed, like what's going on. There's, you know, some weirdos around, a few choice words being exchanged between them. Not for the kids' ears, obviously, but hey, that's, you know, what you're going to get when you're walking around East London on a Sunday morning and people are maybe still hungover. I don't know. I actually quite liked it. I found it quite interesting, different vibe, you know, had a bit of life to it, which was really nice. The second thing I found really interesting was actually on the tour. I don't really know the East End of London that well, so it was really, really good to get a perspective of where we were and go walk past loads of like cafes, eateries, restaurants, places to hang out. We got some good ideas on what to do and where to go for lunch afterwards, so that was really interesting. Number 3, I loved all the little facts that the tour guide would give us. So, you know, like the City of London is only 1 square mile, and which I did know, but what I didn't know is back in Jack the Ripper's day, crimes didn't get solved because the police in the City of London were different to the police outside of London, in London, if that makes sense. And the two sort of like different areas were separated. Not separated, but like you could tell if you were in the City of London by looking at the bollards. Really interesting facts like that, the shape of them or the colour of them. But the reason that the crime wasn't solved so quickly was that different police forces would withhold information from each other. If the murder took place in the City of London, they wouldn't tell the police what clues they'd found or pass on vital information, so that when the next murder happened outside the City of London, then they wouldn't have a clue that stuff had been related to it, like on the previous murder. That was really interesting. It's fascinating, you know. It wasn't all about, there's a lot of red tape, so it wasn't all about let's solve the crime, let's get a real result. It's all about teamwork. There was obviously a lot of competition between those two police forces. That was interesting. Well, anyway, I'm going to stop talking now because I've bleated on for far too long, and I'm just going to wrap this video up. As I said, if you liked it, please drop me a thumbs up, and I'd love you to subscribe if you found it useful. Would I recommend Jack the Ripper tour? Yep, absolutely. I think there are quite a few tours, but I'll put the link below in my description box on the one we went on. But yes, I would definitely recommend the one we went on, and I'd also recommend a visit to the museum as well. That's it from me, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.